What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode, Focus Daily TV, where we speak about the coming of the Lord and how the Lord's children that are commonly known as the African Americans, Afro Americans, and Negroes were disenfranchised and lost their status and fell from God's grace due to not following his laws and his commands. Today we're going to talk about media manipulation, get a little bit into it, watch a short film about how media has used propaganda to shape the mind states and ideologically subvert not only the children of God, but all the people of the world. Hit that like button, subscribe, support the channel, hashtag Focus Daily TV. Let's go, y'all.
These were the first words sent over the newly invented electric telegraph machine in May 1844. This message proved to be prophetic.
Once again, most of this Holocaust against God's children occurred in the late 1800s, early 1900s. Although that is not when it began, that is when a major part of biblical prophecy takes place.
For the communication technologies that followed in the wake of the telegraph, from the telephone to the radio to TV, computers, the internet, and now smartphones and social media have radically altered the fabric of society. In this series of videos, we are going to explore some of the effects of modern communication technology use. For while remarkable achievements of human ingenuity, these technologies are a double-edged sword. Communication is easier than ever, but so too is the ability of governments and corporations to track and monitor us. The media and educational gatekeepers of old have been irreparably weakened by the...
And we're mainly dealing with the corporate asset of this, because through legal imparchments or legal spells such as the Sister QV Trust, we were incorporated as a people. We lost our sovereign status and became an all caps corporate entity. We spoke a little bit about that on this show earlier. Go back and check out some of the earlier videos to catch up. And yeah, let's go.
The rise of the internet and social media, which was a boon to curious minds. But these technologies are also being used to manipulate us through censorship and rampant propaganda. And while creating new possibilities for how we...
Speaking of censorship, you can't even speak out on sexual immorality or unrighteous acts without being ridiculed, canceled, and oppressed. This same media system is ran by the banking money changers, the corporate entities that control the minds and the lives of specifically God children, which I'm speaking of. Here on Focus Daily TV, I'm speaking to my people mainly, the children of God, the Israelites, aka the Afro Americans. However, through this truth that is being unshed, all has a chance for redemption. The Lord don't discriminate.
Work, learn, and entertain ourselves. These technologies have an addictive side that promotes anxiety disorders and a wasted life. In the first video of this series, we will explore how the use of these technologies, and specifically social media use, is altering how many of us answer the fundamental question, who am I? Our answer to this question, or the
forms of media then changed over the decades. Like the video began, it started with telegraphs and telephones and then televisions. This video focuses mainly on current society. However, the same tactics and crafty counseling is still in effect. The same ideological subversion is being placed upon the people while currently they're attempting to put us deeper and deeper into the matrix, into the world of Oz, into the world of sin.
The story we tell ourselves about ourselves forms our identity or self concept. How we approach the challenges of life, what we believe we are capable of, how we treat others, what we value, and even how we view the world. All are influenced by our self concept, or as the psychologist Michael Mahoney writes,
Unfortunately, our people were hit the hardest by this ideological subversion. Our people are the main ones that's leading the media culture. So, of course, it hit us the hardest, but all fell victim to it too. Everybody wants to do what they see the black man do until it's time to get a job or benefit from our birthright that was given to us directly from God.
like a spontaneous projector of different light forms and frequencies, our sense of self formidably constrains and construes the reflections of its own castings. It is an ever present but invisible navigator or sculptor in a lifelong journey. The health or sickness of a society is an emergent byproduct of the health or sickness of the self concepts of the people who populate that society. A society full of individuals with weak self concepts that are fearful of novelty, infused with helplessness.
Weak, weak complexes, self complexes, such as not believing in God anymore, not following His laws and His commandments, fully knowing, at least our ancestors, that was what made us so prominent in the world. But in come these foreigners with their fancy trick and magic and gadgets, and they enchanted God's children and led us deep within the world of sin.
Riddled by anxiety, plagued by self hate, or lacking in self reliance, can only be a sick society. For one
They taught us this.
thing is needful, claimed Nietzsche, that a human being should attain satisfaction with himself. Only then is a human being at all tolerable to behold. Whoever is dissatisfied with himself is continually ready for revenge.
So recently I've been speaking about the code they speak in. Put on your discernment hats. Here it goes right here. I'm not going to explain it. I'm going to let the people break it down. And if God is with you, it is meant for you.
And we others will be his victims. Our self concept is in continuous development and it is the product of many factors, including our upbringing, education, biology, environment, interpersonal relations, and intrapersonal experiences. But one of the most important factors in the shaping of our selfhood is the predominant identity formation.
So through this media manipulation, they completely converted us and changed us into something that is other than the children of God. But the good news is, through the leadership of his son, King Christ, we can be redeemed. We shall be redeemed. Everybody won't be able to make it, true. But he didn't come to condemn the world. He came to redeem it and save it. That's key.
Mechanism of our society. To understand what an identity formation mechanism is, we will examine the two mechanisms that preceded the rise of social media, namely sincerity and authenticity. Sincerity prevailed in the West until a few generations ago and was based on the idea that one's identity was intimately tied to a set of social roles. These roles were not chosen.
Morals, adherence to the laws and commandment of God once ruled the land, once were the laws of the land. And then came the foreigners and they introduced the laws of the sea. 1 foot on sea, 1 foot on the land.
Chosen by the individual, but given to him or her by family and community. One's identity then emerged in the attempt to play these roles in a sincere manner. In earlier times, identity was typically assigned by the social.
Sometimes you have to switch the positions and put the Afro American or ourselves into the stories that they tell of others. Because in the early 1900s, a lot of whitewashing, a lot of information manipulation began, a lot of implementation of Nazi white supremacist tactics began to take hold of this land. And they switched the roles. With the 13th and 14th Amendment, they crucified us, God's children, and placed themselves into our position. So now when they tell this story in the history, when they tell stories through history, positions that they put themselves in was actually where we once stood as God's children. Let's go.
Roles one was born into. Along with birth came not only one's gender, but also one's tribal or ethnic identity, one's social class, one's profession, and one's religion. In the 19th and 20th centuries, greater social mobility and more equality of opportunity unleashed a newfound freedom of self expression. Predetermined social roles of class, gender, religion, and ethnicity declined in importance, and the identity formation mechanism of sincerity was replaced by authenticity. Under authenticity, one discovers, realizes, or creates one's identity, and so selfhood formation becomes an individual's task. For some, this proves to be a blessing as it unlocks possibilities and potentials that are stunted when one is expected to sincerely conform to predetermined social.
See, right now he's heavily speaking in code and presenting imagery to those that are in the know. But once again, this truth shall make us free.
Roles. For others, it is a burden, as with freedom of self expression comes responsibility for the self that is created. But a strange thing has occurred with the rise of social media. Many people are reverting back to a mechanism of identity formation that resembles sincerity, a mechanism of identity formation which Hans Georg Mueller and Paul D'Ambrosio in You and Your Profile have termed prophilicity. Like
Being injected into the matrix and now conforming to the world of sin and its ways. If you look around society today, society is very wicked. And we all need to turn from our wicked ways.
sincerity, prophilicity is other directed and reliant on the reactions of an audience. With sincerity, one's family and community are the audience that casts judgment on how sincerely or properly one plays.
See, he's speaking about a fake sincerity, a mask, an avatar, your matrix character, and how we have this PC society that presents royal morals and righteousness, but actually in reality, it's all a front, an act. Satan presented himself as an angel of light, and he taught the people that same ideology through, once again, the school systems, media, and other forms that we haven't got into yet. We're sticking to media on this video. Let's go.
Plays the predetermined roles. With prophilicity, the audience is a generalized peer group consisting of hundreds, thousands, or even millions of social media users. And this audience plays a somewhat different role than under sincerity.
Yeah, it seems like on social media they speak about spirituality and this and that, and everybody's into the crystals, and but really all of that is just witchcraft sent straight from the world of sin. More into that later.
Not only does the audience judge the identity one forms, but it also helps shape the very roles one strives to play. For prophilicity entails creating profiles on social media through the selective display of pictures and other bits of information, or in a more passive manner,
A mask,
merely observing the profiles of admired personalities and then using these idealized profiles as roles to play in real life.
idolizing, story hosts.
Or as Jeremy Weissman explains in the crowdsourced Panopticon,
worshiping other gods.
A simultaneous exchange occurs between the two entities, our digital profiles and our in real life self. As we broadcast idealized portraits of our in real life self online, we then in turn adjust our in real life self so as to meet with popular approval when we are broadcast online again. At a certain point, our in real life self and digital profiles practically merge.
All right, that's it today. Another episode of Focus Daily Show where we delve into what happened, how it happened, who did it, when, where, and why. Support the channel, hit the like button, hashtag Focus Daily TV. We out.